من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم. أما بعد، فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدى محمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليه، وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. I believe that the date of this night, inshallah, and Allah knows best, is the second night of Sha'ban, 1421 years after the Hijrah. Is that correct? On the second night? Corresponding with the 28th day of October, year 2000 CE, Christian era, here at Masjid as-Sunnah Nabawiyyah in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we wanted to just give the brothers, inshallah, and if there are any sisters present, some of the things that I was carrying with me in my bag that I was just reading, and I had actually intended to talk from this book, as-Wahhaj fi Bayan al-Manhaj, the illuminating lamp in terms of clarifying the minhaj, by Fadilat al-Shaykh Mustafa ibn Ismail as-Sulaymani, which is commonly known to us as Abu Hassan al-Misri or Abu Hassan al-Maghribi, Hafizahullah ta'ala. But when I reached into my bag, I remembered that I had some pages that I think will be more appropriate. Not that they're better than the Sheikh's book on the issues of minhaj, but they will be more appropriate because you brothers like myself, whose language is not Arabic, you will be able to leave this masjid, inshallah, and go straight home. If you have that new bid'ah called a computer and you're online, of course new bid'ah, good bid'ah outside of the deen, you'll be able to go home and download these things for yourself. So with that, we're going to put the Sheikh's book on the side because what he mentions in the book actually is what I'm going to be mentioning, with the exception that this particular paper that I have in my hand, from the statements of Sheikh Salim al-Hilali, he said that this book, which I only have portions of it in my hand, the downloaded copies from the internet, is the best book that he's seen on the issues of the manhaj, even in Arabic, and it should be retranslated from English into Arabic. And this is from the brothers at Salafi Publications. And this is an introduction to the minhaj, and they call this Purifying the Concept of the Sunnah and Salafiyyah series, Readings in Elementary Qutbism. Readings in Elementary Qutbism. And then they also have another one, Readings in Intermediate Qutbism. The first one, elementary, is 28 pages, and the intermediate is 55 pages. And they have a test, a quiz at the end to see if you understood or comprehended what you read. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ba'd. The first part, it says, this is the introduction. And this is the table of contents, like I said. It says the introduction to this course, then terms and definitions, important principles. Lesson number 1, Qutbism, a figment of the imagination. That's a rhetorical question. Because some people say that Qutbism doesn't exist. Lesson number 2, all Muslim societies have apostatized, have become apostate, and reverted to Jahiliyyah. That's the second point. Lesson number 3, the slogan of Qutbism, Al-Hakimiyyah. Lesson number 4, launching a destructive jihad against Muslim society. And then concluding remarks, and then at the end a comprehension test. They begin with the statement of Imam al-Lalaka'i, who died 418 years after the Hijrah. 418 years after the Hijrah. And this is something that I would add to the test if I were giving the test, which I did in Brooklyn, New York, at Masjid Muslimin 3 years ago when we had a Aqidah and Minhaj class with tests every 2 weeks, which were about 49 pages. and everybody had to memorize all the dates. It's important to remember the dates that these people lived, so you can see that they were contemporaries of others. Imam al-Lalaka'i, rahimahullah, who died 418 after the Hijrah, 418 after the Hijrah. He said, that which is most obligatory upon a Muslim, that's the first thing that we should understand. This is my statement now. The Sheikh, the Imam is saying, Imam al-Lalaka'i, that which is obligatory upon the Muslim. Knowledge of the aspects of the creed, meaning the aqidah of the religion, and what Allah has obligated upon His servants, including the understanding of His tawheed and of His attributes, and believing in His messengers with evidences and with certainty, and arriving at all of that and seeking evidences for them with clear proof. And among the mightiest of statements and clearest of proof and understandings is, and then Imam al-Lalaka'i, who died 418 years after the Hijrah, he gives 6 things. This is from his book, Sharh Usul al-I'tiqad, Ahlus-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. The explanation of the principles of the belief, the aqidah of Ahlus-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah, which I believe now is in 8 volumes, and used to be in 10 volumes, or the other way around. Used to be in 10 volumes, and now in 8 volumes, Allah knows best. Number 1, the Book of Allah, the Manifest Truth. Number 2, then the saying of the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Number 3, and his companions, the chosen pious ones. Number 4, then that which the Salaf as-Salih were unanimously agreed upon. Number 5, then holding fast to all of that and remaining firm upon it till the day of judgment. And number 6, then turning away from the innovations and from listening to them from among those things the astray people have invented. Then the brothers, they say, and subhanAllah, brothers, I'm going to tell you, I don't see anything more beneficial on the internet for our aqeedah and manhaj than this website. If you want to learn the manhaj of the Salaf, and you have been struggling with the Arabic language, and while you're learning the Arabic language, you really want to learn those basic principles of the aqidah and the manhaj of the Salaf, I would tell you to go to no place but Salafi publications. Not that you can't go to other places, but Salafi publications is crystal clear in this. The brothers, they say, all praise is due to Allah, and prayers and peace be upon His Messenger Muhammad, his family, and whoever follows his guidance. To proceed, this is the first of our series of courses aimed at providing a detailed insight into some of the contemporary movements of innovation. It's called Readings in Elementary Qutbism. Look at the thought and ideology of Sayyid Qutb, rahimahullah wa ghafarallahu lahu wa afahu lahu anhu wa anna, and its promotion by some of the reformist callers of today. At the conclusion of the course, there is a comprehensive test to ensure that students have fully grasped the material. Before commencing, it is recommended that all students familiarize themselves with the terms and definitions provided below to make sure that they are fully equipped to digest the text and materials found in this course. Useful materials related to this particular course can be found at Salafi publications. Terms and definitions. Number 1, Qutbism. Qutbism is the thought and ideology of Sayyid Qutb, as found in his most popular works, such as Ma'alimu fi Tariq, Milestone, or his tafsir, fi Ziyal al-Quran, in the shade of the Quran, and Adalat al-Ijtima'iyyah, social justice, and other books. Number 2, Qutubiyyah, or Qutubiyyun. That's the sect known as the Qutubis. Qutubi, or Qutubist, a person who subscribes to the thought and ideology of Qutbism. Different extremes exist as to the degree and extent that a Qutubi subscribes to the thought and ideology of Qutbism. Number 4, Al-Hakimiyyah, a term invented by Sayyid Qutb. A term invented by Sayyid Qutb, rahimahullah. And we say rahimahullah, and may Allah forgive him, have mercy on him, because he was a Muslim. And when Sheikh Nasruddin al-Albani was asked the question, about saying rahimahullah on Imam al-Nawawi, Ibn al-Hajar al-Asqalani, Sayyid Qutb, and Mawdudi, and people like them. And of course, that question shouldn't have been asked the way it was asked, because Ibn al-Hajar al-Asqalani and Imam al-Nawawi have a different position from Sayyid Qutb and Mawdudi and Hassan al-Banna. That may Allah have mercy on all of them. And forgive all of them. Right? And when our Shaykh Abu Hatim Usama al-Qusi was asked, what do we do with the work, because some people have burned the book of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, like his book Fath al-Bari, the explanation of al-Bukhari. And they have burned the explanation of Muslim by Imam al-Nawawi, because they were Ash'ari. For those who don't know, they were Ash'ari. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, al-Hafiz, Imam al-Nawawi were Ash'ariyun. But when Shaykh Usama al-Qusi, Hafidhahullah, was asked about them, in comparison to people like Sayyid Qutb and the others, who also had Ash'ariyah ideology, he said there's a difference between a person who comes from the front door and a person who comes into the house from the back door. Meaning, Ibn al-Hajar al-Asqalani and Imam al-Nawawi, their foundations were the foundations of Ahlus-Sunnah. Whereas those other people, their foundations was something else. They came through the drain pipe. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani and Imam al-Nawawi came through the front door, meaning they used the principles of Salafiyyah. But they made some mistakes on the way. But the foundational principles of these other individuals was not from Salafiyyah or Ahlus-Sunnah. And that's the main difference between those people and them. Even though they had ascribed to that which we know as the Ash'ariyya madhab, their usul, their principles were Salafiyyah. They were Salafiyyah, and there's a big difference. Al-Hakimiyyah, a term invented by Sayyid Qutb. And for those who don't know, once again, Sayyid Qutb was greatly affected by the disease of Mawdudi. And that was really strange the first time I learned this, because Mawdudi was a Pakistani whose language was in Arabic, and Sayyid Qutb was an Arab whose language was Arabic. It was strange to me when I heard that. And I always thought that it was the other way around, until sitting in the hotel room 2 QSS conferences ago with Sheikh Ali Hassan and Sheikh Salim al-Hilali and Sheikh Usama al-Qusi and some others. They told me, no, Dawood, it's the other way around. It's Mawdudi who had the effect on Sayyid Qutb. Allahu Akbar. Al-Hakimiyyah, a term invented by Sayyid Qutb to represent Allah's sovereignty with respect to issues of legislation. In his view, Sayyid Qutb, this is the essence of the meaning of the kalima La ilaha illallah. In Sayyid Qutb's mind, Al-Hakimiyyah is the essence of the statement La ilaha illallah. In other words, the foundation of La ilaha illallah is Al-Hakimiyyah. Alright? Which is a term invented by him, meaning or representing Allah's sovereignty with respect to the issues of legislation. Al-Uluhiyyah. This term denotes Allah's exclusive right to all forms of worship and devotion, whether feelings of the heart, statements of the tongue, or actions of the limbs. In Qutbism, Al-Hakimiyyah is made the most exclusive and special element of Al-Uluhiyyah. Legislation, in other words, dealing with the rulers, is the foundational, exclusive, special element with the Qutbis in Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Jahiliyyah, literally it means the days of ignorance. The days of ignorance, literally. This term represents the pre-Islamic era, and it is synonymous with the concepts of disbelief, polytheism, backwardness, and ignorance. And I want to stop right here and make a refutation and a correction on a brother who you know very well. On one of his tapes, and he has already corrected himself, and I'm going to correct him now myself. He made a correction in Manchester, England, of something that he had said. He also did it at Masjid Ahlus-Sunnah in Atlanta, Georgia. And he said that in a khutbah, a very famous khutbah called Weaknesses of the Ummah and its Remedy, that the entire Muslim world, if that Muslim country and the entire Muslim world if